click the thing. This is a really pretty simple one. Most of it just takes time for the water to absorb upwards like we did last week. So this is taking what we did last week and actually applying it to our knowledge. I'm a little bit laggy today. What's going on there? Yeah, I'm gonna go with it. Turn that on. Maybe that might help. Okay. Looks good on my end. I don't know what's going on. Might be a lot of weird things. Okay. So when we look at chromatography, we kind of did it last week. Okay. We talked about how we break smaller things up, some substance, into its many different parts. Okay. So we did black permanent markers and looked at the different colors that were in there. We found that this Sanford king size one had lots of yellows and oranges. We learned that Sharpie brand had lots of purples and blues. So that's kind of a neat thing to think about. This picture down here on this right-hand side is actually using a different chemical to break all the different pigments that you would find in a leaf down. And why do we use these? Well, when we use different types of chromatography, and yeah, there's more than just the paper we did. I looked up why would we actually use this, okay? A lot of it is to detect like chemicals that shouldn't be there. For example, I was looking, one type of this paper chromatography is used to detect if there are insecticides or pesticides on produce. One of them using gases, they actually use them in airports to detect bombs. I think if I recall, when I came back on a trip through Phoenix, they actually took a swab of my suitcase that I had with me on a little piece of paper, put it in a machine, and they were looking for different type of fertilizer chemicals that are widely used in bomb making. And it only took about 30 seconds. And this was almost 20 years ago. So if we think about how much technology has come by with that, there's a lot of different things. A lot of times they use it in, the other thing I saw is they use it a lot in forensics for figuring out different combinations or parts of DNA, RNA, or other proteins that your body might produce that you can detect that can put different people at crime scenes. So it's a very complex, very, kind of hard to do, very high level science. And it's applied in some really specific things, but it's also simple enough that you can grab a hold of. Something neat to try would be to put a Skittle in some water with these and watch what happens with the colors, or put them on a plate. It's kind of a fun thing to do to watch happen. I'm frozen, huh? Let it go. I'm frozen. Let it go. My video is frozen. Neat. I am frozen. Let it go. All right. Let me try something here quick. Is that better? Better? Bueller. Let's try that. Is that better? Am I still frozen? There we go. Okay. Sometimes you just have to reset it. Thanks for letting me know. Computers have their day. Looking a little bit better. Okay, I was checking that feed. Okay, it's looking better. It's hard to see on my side sometimes. It looks good on my end. Sometimes it's the internet. Sometimes it's my computer. You just never know. All right. So when we think about how we see things, okay, when we went back to this sheet here, we were able to see greens, we were able to see yellows, we were able to see oranges, reds, etc. We don't see the color because it's being absorbed. We see it because it's bouncing back off. So my bluish black shirt here is bluish black because all the other colors are being absorbed, and that's bouncing back to you. If you look at the right hand side of the screen right here, unless you have some colorblind issues, which is, it's okay because these would be washing together, you would see each individual color, and it's lighting up red, yellow, purple, whatever, and it's lighting up those things on your screen, the little liquid crystals, to show that color. It's what's going to your eye. That's what's into your eyeball, Your eyeball's looking, it's bouncing off the screen. The light's coming from your screen into your eyeball. Okay. What we see in nature, the green leaves, it's what's bouncing off the trees and coming back to us. It's not what's being absorbed, because that wouldn't make sense. Okay. Some things to do with light is to break it up using a prism. You can do this with different types of glass, bevel glass, all sorts of things. As long as there's like a little thing in there, it's kind of cool. The other neat thing you could do is you can actually bend a pencil. Okay, you can kind of do that old bending pencil trick where you put it in the water and it actually kind of bends it and it breaks it a little bit, because it's just weird. It's all how light and water and how light moves through different things. Okay, it's weird to think that white light, okay, like from the flashlight on my phone here, would actually be made up of all these colors. Because usually when we mix all these colors together, they become this brownish gray lump. But in nature, when you have white light, it's actually all of these wavelengths smushed together. Don't worry about the physics behind that. So I'm not going to worry about that so much. Well, visible light is here. Because light moves in waves, there's all sorts of other waves like radios, microwaves, which isn't the ones that we use. Yes, that one, but it's like radar, cell phones. And then you get up to, ultraviolet light that we talked about is damaging for us, infrared, which is heat, and even X-rays, which are really bad for you, and other things. I'm not going to worry about that. So let's set up our experiment, okay? That's different. We will do. Okay, now we'll do that. Okay, here's what we'll do. Go ahead and stop that here quick. I'm going to switch over my videos to this one right here. And you can tell I have all of my materials right here ready to go, including my pink glitter sparkly pipe cleaner. That's for later. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use my coffee filter here. And I'm going to fold my coffee filter into fourths just to make this go a little bit faster. I'm going to fold it into fourths, right? And then I will unfold it. And I'm going to start from the inside. The inside here is actually what's going to go down into the water. And so if you think about a flower, most of the time flowers have a green down on the bottom. So I'm going to kind of draw some green, and using like lines and circles usually works pretty nicely. Okay. Okay. I realize I'm going to run into some yellows and blues eventually. Okay, I'm going to start with this nice green right here. Nice green ring. And then I'm going to start there. Okay, so I'm going to start there. I'm going to add a little more green on this outside. I'm going to use a different color green. Ooh, that's darker. Whoops, I should have used that one first. Yeah, we'll have fun with that one. There we go. We'll put a dark green ring there. Okay. Now I'm going to add to. Oh, I've got a little light. Let's do this one. Let's put it there. I use rings. Some people draw dots. It kind of doesn't matter, but I like rings and like dots. They produce better ideas. So if I go here, let me go back here. Take a look at the screen here real quick. On this one, notice some people do these little V shapes and dots, and they got them to spread out nicely. That's fine. Leave a little bit of space in the middle. I'm going to start mine there so it doesn't bleed all over. Theirs somehow worked really nicely to spread out. Great, lucky them. It doesn't always work perfectly, but you're going to want to make, a little ways out, probably no more than about this area to work on it. Okay, so no more than about this. So I'm going to take, oh goodness, I know that purple is going to break into reds. So I'm going to draw some dots here. Let's do some dots. Okay. You don't have to copy my pattern. And luckily, coffee filters are relatively cheap. So you can build as many of these as you want. I'm going to draw some dots there. I've got a lighter one here. I'll put a little lighter dot right on top of it. I'm kind of following their pattern a little bit, but Okay, there's that. And maybe I'll draw a little bit more there. There, we'll do that. There we go. And then I'll draw a little bit of blue in between. Put a little blue there. And then I'm going to end with pink. I felt like drawing some very pinky flowers today. I don't know why. Doesn't matter what you decide to do. I'll draw some dots. Dot, 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 dot. A lot of this, guys, is trial and error. And trust me, whenever I do this, it ends up being a lot of errors. Okay, mine never seems to work the best. I just haven't had a lot of really good luck with it for some reason. It just happens that way. Sometimes it just happens. Could be the waters I use. It could be a lot of different things. I'm going to connect those together, and then I might draw maybe some little boop, 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 boop. We'll see how this turns out. That's more purpley pink, so we'll do that. Okay, so there's my little design right there. Okay. What some people do, and that picture, okay, if you looked at the picture that was on this one right here, if you look here, they actually kind of put a coin there, and then they put it on top of a cup, and then they let the water spread out. That's fine if you'd like to do it that way. I have no problem with that. Okay, that's kind of one way to do it. All right. What you can do is, remember I folded this into fourths. So I folded this into fourths. So what I would do is put a very, very, very small amount of water in the bottom. Okay. And I'm going to take I'm going to try this. This is a little bit different way. Take this and I'm going to push it down gently so it just barely touches the water. Oh no. And then I'm going to kind of fold it over. I'm going to let it see what it does. Uh-oh. So I'm kind of pushing it down. My water level is a little bit too low. Okay. So if I look at it, I'm trying to do it this way. Okay. But my water level is just a little bit too low. So I want to kind of push it down there. I might have to hold it. And if you notice, it's actually kind of working. Might have to, if I were to do this again, I might have to put a little bit more water in there. Oh, there we go. Now I got it. So it can absorb just the smallest amount of water. And I'm going to let it run. Okay. I'm going to let it run as far up as it can until it runs out of energy. Okay. I see some cool drawings there. Looks great to me. This is what I'm going to do. Just kind of got it wet and it's slowly working its way up. All right. Oh, this actually might turn. Oh my. I actually might. The water's blue. Yes. That water is a greenish blue because of the green that I put down here. As soon as I touched that green center down at the bottom, it washed all that pigment out. So you might want to leave a little bit more space than what I did. Okay, you might want to leave a little bit more space than what I did. Okay. And so as this works its way up, it's going to turn it and it's going to spread all the colors out and it's going to turn into a really neat looking thing. Okay, I'm going to switch out of my video here real quick. Switch. Okay. And a lot of this is going to be some trial and error. Okay. You're probably going to goof it up the first time. I feel it a lot. All right. So if I go back to this, once you let it sit and run like this into this beautiful picture and you're happy with it, you can actually take your pipe cleaner and notice right down here, if you look right here, okay, I'm going to circle a little spot. If you notice right here, they tied the pipe cleaner to the bottom of it, and then they spread out the little thing into a flower-like shape. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be beautiful. You could even let it dry completely and poke it through the middle and make a little nub on the top. That works too. there are many different ways to approach this. Okay, there's no right or wrong way. Okay, there's no right or wrong way. Yeah, Drew, you might have done this. Okay, I know some Fairbury people have done this, but I know that Fairbury had a struggle with this because for some reason the marker they used ended up failing kind of miserably. And it's a fun little thing to do. It's just kind of a neat little science thing. I'm going to go ahead and stop where I am. Let's see where I am. So you can stop it at any time. Actually, I'm going to pull this real quick and let's see how I actually did. How did I do? I would lay it flat. Hey, that's not half bad. That is not half bad. Oh, you guys did? Okay, that's fine. Some of you had some success, some of you didn't. We kind of switched things up depending on where you were. I could let this sit and go until it dries out. It'll keep leaking out a little bit more. But hey, that didn't turn out too bad, did it? I didn't fail it miserably. Okay. And so I'd let it dry. And as far as it goes, I would trim out the excess, throw the excess away. And I would put my little pipe cleaner, I can show you kind of how to do this one way. So I just kind of put it through the middle here real quick. Okay. And then I'm going to put it through the middle here once it dries. I'm going to make a neat little nub, kind of like this. And then I would build my flower around that. And that's one easy way to make a nice little filter paper flower. And you can make many of them. And you can give them to your mom or dad or boyfriend or girlfriend or whoever you feel like giving them to. Okay. So that's one easy way to actually use our chromatography, turn it into a really neat way of using science to do some really neat art stuff. Okay. So that is it. There's really not a whole to it. I actually didn't do too poorly on my flower. It actually worked pretty good. Okay. I would leave a little bit more space than what I did because all that green got washed away. I would almost leave like a quarter size space or maybe a little bit more and then let it spread out from there. These were just simple Crayola washable ones. Worked really, really awesome. You could try it with any different type. Remember, if you use permanent markers, they'll be a little bit bolder, but they'll be a little bit narrower in color. So you have to kind of play with it and work with it a little bit more. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and stop